summer when the ice surrounding the coast is broken and melted enough, it is possible for trucks to make the drive to neighboring towns in the winter polar nights when the tundra is frozen solid. It's risky, but if there was an emergency and a bad storm grounded all the aircraft, or all the pilots were murdered, you could still make it out of town to get help. This is good news for our protagonists because they aren't as cut off from the world as they think. It's not all good news though. The polar night is not 30 days long as the movie suggests. It's actually over 60 days long. The vampires have twice the time for their feeding frenzy. I don't think the vampires will need this much time though. If they do things right, they likely could suck out everyone's blood in less than a week. I might play both sides on this one, because the vampires are probably gonna do some dumb shit. A mysterious ship arrives at the coast, probably around the Elson Lagoon area, which would be remote enough that nobody would see the ship. They likely chose this area because if the ship was seen, people would be suspicious of it. Like we talked about earlier, normal ships need to wait until a narrow window of time in the summer when the ice is melted enough for the ship to get close enough to drop supplies off. The next morning, Josh Hartnett and Crixus find a bunch of satellite phones torched in the snow. For all they know, it could just be thieves, vandals, or pranksters. With some of the townsfolk on the fictional last flight out before the fictional 30-day polar night, the strange happenings in the small town continue. Someone is shanking all the sled dogs. I get the vampire strategy of eliminating any transportation or communication out of the town, but killing sled dogs? Is that really important at this stage? What dumb son of a bitch would try to escape a vampire attack on a dog sled with a bunch of howling Alaskan Malamutes pulling some dude at a breakneck speed of 5 miles per hour? The vampires' next objectives are to have the human destroy the town's helicopter and cell tower right before the polar night begins. I gotta commend the vampires here. Destroying most of the satellite phones first before destroying the cell tower was key. If they had destroyed the cell tower first, obtaining and destroying any satellite phones would have been a much more difficult task, since it's the only remaining means of communication and people will hold on to them tightly. Destroying the sat phones would not raise any immediate red flags, and then all you need to do to cut the town's comms is take out the single cell tower. Shortly after losing comms with the outside world, the town will send people out to get help via plane or helicopter, so disabling these aircraft quickly is important. Once that option is off the table, the townsfolk will resort to sending some truck drivers to nearby towns to get help. I don't think the vampires would need to worry about a mass exodus Too Fast, Too Furious style, because it's risky and there's no need to if you only need a few drivers to make the trip. While it's a roadless tundra, I'm sure there are established routes in and out of town. All you need to do is have some vampires guard these routes and kill any escapees. The next problem is the daily resupply flights. This is a tough one. If you destroy the landing planes, the airlines will be alerted immediately. It might take a few days of no contact and planes being destroyed for the National Guard to be called in, but a few hundred soldiers with Blackhawks showing up will definitely ruin the vampire party. Damaging the runway could be a way to get the town to suspend flights for a while, but when the town survives on that runway, it'll get fixed quickly. As a vampire attacking this town, I'd say realistically the feast can only last maybe a week max before your welcome is overstayed. But this is a fictional world where no flights come and go for a month. So let's just continue with that premise. The remaining problem is world awareness of your vampirical existence. As a vampire, you don't want the world to know about your existence because 4chan will find you, the military will kill you. This is a difficult task because every person you bite or slash gets infected with the vampire virus, which spreads evidence of your existence. Leaving bodies in the open where the sunlight will vaporize them after the polar night ends won't work because you need to be out of town within a week, and the polar night lasts a couple of months. I think that if you cut off comms and transportation like they did, destroy any planes that land, kill everyone as fast as you can, then on the last day of the week, burn the village down, which will destroy any evidence as well as flush out the remaining victims, who you can then kill and toss into the fire, you should be good. People are gonna be suspicious as to what caused everyone to die and the town to burn down, but nobody's gonna suspect it was a vampire attack. Their current plan is a bit over the top and risky in my opinion.